Yeah, I move that leave be granted to withdraw the health termination of pregnancy amendment bill.
So
and I also
have agreed, so now I'm moving on to your introduction.
Yeah, I move that leave be granted to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Health Regulation of Termination of Pregnancy 2023. In moving this bill, I want to remember those cases that propelled many people in this country into action, into campaigning and fighting for the right to choose, namely Savita Halappanabar, Miss X, as just two in a litany of names and initials that became synonymous with a cruel and punishing Ireland for women. In recent weeks, we've seen protests targeting refugee centres, all ostensibly under the banner of defending women and safeguarding women from some unknown threat. It is absolutely ironic that in most cases, these protests have been led and orchestrated by men who have fought tooth and nail against repeal and against giving women the right to choose and the right to control their own reproductive health. And this bill, like the repeal movement, insists that abortion is a health issue. It supports the belief that the vast majority in this country have that someone who needs abortion care should never have to travel abroad for such care. And again, in line with the beliefs of the majority in the country, it aims to ensure that abortion is treated like any other medical procedure, and it is never a matter for criminal law. It aims to achieve full decriminalisation of abortion in line with WHO guidelines. It will see the removal of the mandatory 3-day waiting period and the 12-week gestational limit. Abortion is a health issue for women, and the insertion of the 3-day waiting period says to women that their decision to do what they want with their own bodies must be questioned, that the health care that they are seeking access to is somehow different from the care of other aspects of their health, and that we're going to place obstacles and hurdles in their way. It suggests that there's something wrong with their choice. We totally reject this and the burden that it places on women. We know that in many places in this country, accessing abortion care or seeing a GP who will treat you is very difficult, if not impossible. And when you get an appointment, take time off work and travel, you then have to go away, think about it, consider your choice and make your way back again for the treatment you're entitled to. This bill rejects that continuing heartbreak and trauma, and we're putting women through in the case of fatal fetal abnormalities as well. 2 out of every 5 women who need abortion care in the case of fetal anomaly have to travel. And research has showed in the 2 weeks before the close of the public consultation that 71% of people agreed that abortion should be treated like any other medical procedure and should never be a matter for criminal law and the chill factor that surrounds the laws we have. Excuse me. Research has also showed that it's absolutely critical that the government listens to the lived experience of women, of those accessing abortion care, and recognises the barriers that are put in front of them and takes forward evidence and recommendations from people. There is no medical evidence to support the 3-day waiting period. It was not recommended by the Citizens' Assembly or the Joint Committee on the 8th Amendment of the Constitution. It was inserted by the Cabinet, and the overwhelming majority of people who have to wait the 3 days found it added stress and anxiety to their physical and mental health. They described the wait as ridiculous, patronising, unnecessary and demeaning. My last point relates to the issue of fatal fetal anomaly again. It is heartbreaking to see hundreds of women having to travel to Britain since the law was introduced following repeal. In most cases, they must travel because medical practitioners say they cannot be certain that a fetus will, within 28 days from being born, a fatal abnormality will prevent that fetus from living. This bill extends that period from 28 days to 1 whole year. The details in the bill are there, but to summarise, it will provide abortion on request for fatal fetal anomaly, abolish the 3-day waiting period and provide abortion on the grounds that are likely to lead to the death of a fetus either before or within a year. It will also allow for abortion where there's a risk to the life or the health of a woman or a pregnant person, and entirely decriminalise the provision of abortion. I commend the bill to House and look forward to cross-party support. One last point is on the review of the abortion legislation, which is long overdue. I'm sorry the Minister for Health has left the room, but by yesterday he should have been submitted with the review of the abortion legislation, and has given us no timeline for the production of his report, the publication of his report on same. So today I've put in a parliamentary question on this, and I would like the Minister for Health to give us, finally, a straight and sincere answer about when we can expect this review. So I commend the bill to the House, and thank you, Lascian Corley.
Is the bill being opposed? No, so the motion for leave to introduce is agreed. So if the Deputy could move that the second stage be taken in private members' time. Move that.
I move.
And is that agreed?